Happy Friday, people. I'm going to do it a little differently this week. I think it's something I've been started doing a couple of weeks ago. I'm just going to do my review live. Well, not live, but just review everything that I did during the week. Or that I read during the week. Which will probably take a little bit longer, and it'll just be one video as opposed to all the other ones. So let's get started. Okay, the first one I have here is Dollar Comics Batman Huntress #1. I don't think I made it all the way through this because reasons, but so I can't really do this one right now because I don't want to, speak about it because I didn't read the whole thing. But I've got everything else. Now, let's just make it a little easier here. That looks a little bit better. By AWA Upshot Comics. Red border #1. The art in here is just incredible. I've read a couple of the other things, books with this, and that's something that isn't common. That's common with all the different books in this title. It's just incredible. Oh, and this is a good series too. Anything by JMS. This is a story. It's a four-parter about starts out with a group of people sitting around a table in Juarez, Mexico, talking about how bad things have gotten down there and how their generation needs to start, stepping up and working to fix things. And one woman, which is this woman right here, says that she's done something to help. She reported a crime. Reported a shooting to the police, which in turn, they didn't know about that at that point, brings people to their door in order to kill them, and they escape. Or the woman who reported the crime to the police and her boyfriend escape, and they are on the run from this cartel hit squad. They wanted to try and cross the border to get away, and that's hence the name Red Border. Excuse me. At the end of this one, they run into another group of people, another squad from this cartel, as they are about to cross the border, and they get saved by this man right here. That ends it right there. Now, I'm going to give this. It started out really kind of slow, but it did pick up near the end, so I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. Then you pick up #2, again by Jason Starr, Will Conrad, and Ivan Nunez. Picks up at this gentleman's house. They've invited. He invited them to stay, and I think they're on this side of the border now in Texas. And his family is feeding them and offering to let them stay the night, and just feeding them out. And it's really kind of, you get this really uncomfortable feeling about the family, but you can't really quite put your finger on it. And you're also following the story of the cartel leader who is now trying to find them on his own. He's like, if you people can't get this done right, I need to do it myself. And the girl and her boyfriend are talking about leaving. They need to get away and from the border to stay out of view. They want to get farther into the country, but they're illegal, and their savior is saying, "Hey, look, there's people looking for you guys because of a killing because of the killing just on the other side of the border. You need to stay in the house for a little bit." And right at the very end, you find out why this family wants them to stay there, and it's not for their safety. So that actually kind of upped the story up. I really liked it. And the art, again, is incredible. I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5, and we'll definitely be getting the next 2. Now, the next story, or the next book I have, is another AWA Upshot miniseries, Devil's Highway. This is one that I picked up on Thursday because I guess I had been aware of it before, but I didn't get it. But I saw it being talked about on the comic book shops, or the comic book channel's haul video, so I went back and picked it up. This again has some really good art. Starts out with in Drift County, Wisconsin, at Christmas time, and you see a guy leaving the restaurant, talking to the owner and saying, "Hey, I heard your daughter's coming back for Christmas, but if she doesn't, you're invited to the house," yada, yada, yada. And then we have a woman showing up at the door, being chased, and he invites her in, and boom, murder. So 3 days later, we have the man's daughter showing up in town to investigate his death. And there's something weird about her. She's very, hard, bitter, very good fighter. She has some history with the people in the town. You can see she's breaking into her dad's house. And she goes about trying to investigate the murder by herself. Very well written. Very well done. I'm going to give it a 4.25 out of 5 and really recommend it. It's a good mystery. Apocalypse Girl number 4. This is a new appearance. A first appearance of this character. She works for the overlord of this town of New Bethlehem. I think that's what it's called. So you have the central character, finally getting to talk to Abe, I think it was Abraham, that she was looking for after her father died. And we get some backstory on her, and more of the story of the different factions in this town, and why they're fighting, and then who's actually in charge. This issue is rather full of exposition, because you finally get a lot of... There's just a big information dump on how the world got to where it is at this point, and so it happened pretty quickly. So, yeah, that took it down a little bit just because there's so much happening in the issue, and it's like, yo. All right, so I'm going to give that a 2.75 out of 5 just because there's so much. Now we have Vengeance of Vampirella. I like this cover right here. Too bad I did not like what was going on. I don't know why I keep getting this title. Vengeance of Vampirella is not a title that I want to keep getting. You have Jinx, JYX, Jix, or whatever, trying to consolidate her rule, or get her rule of the world back that Vampirella had helped topple her from. And so she's going after Vampirella, and she's dealing with all these other creatures that are trying to go after her. And it's just, I don't find it entertaining. So I'm probably going to stop getting this. I'm going to give it 1.5 out of 5. Vampirella, number 10. Now this is a good series. You're still jumping back and forth between what happened before the plane crash in issue 1 and what happened afterwards. And you have Vampirella dealing with the hit squad of nuns who were after her, and the battle with them. Fun story. Kind of hard to describe, but yeah, I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5. Next book. Image. Negan Lives, one shot. Okay, in this one you have, it starts out with Negan. He's alone, he's upset, he does not, depressed would be more apt. He's living alone, he's, talking to, the remains of his bat that he's got buried, and a woman shows up asking for help, saying that she's been chased and yada yada yada. Turns out it's a setup to try and rob him and a new place to stay. And the two guys that she are with want to kill him and take over. But in the ensuing fight, Negan gets his old mojo back and realizes that he wants to live, but his new role in life is to go find his ex-wife's body and actually bury it. So it's actually a fun story. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. All right. Let's go. How many more do I have? Okay. Now, the plot. I started out in this one. I really did sort of enjoy the first few issues of this one, but I sort of forgot about what was going on, especially with the long wait in between. And this one seemed to be some sort of a historical information dump, sort of like what happened in Apocalypse Girl. Just a bunch of stuff in the issue, and it was way in the past with characters that you didn't know about before. So I guess it's supposed to, how things got to be, how the house got to be the way it was, or something. I'd even forgot who the central characters were until they actually showed them at the end. So 2.5 out of 5. I'll probably get the next one, number 6, just to see if I will like the story from before. All right, another Image comic book. The Mark, number 4. Was it number 4? Can't read that. I am on the line on this series. I could live with it. I could live without it. At this point, I'm leaning towards living without it. I love the concept. That people are using. They use tattoos and ink to create magic, and there's the good and the bad sides. But it kind of really started out strong. But the last couple of issues, it's like, okay, it's just no. So I'm gonna give it one more issue, and if it doesn't jazz me, I'm probably gonna dump it. So 2.5 out of 5. Now, I'm going to rate the next two as 1, which I should have done with the other one. The Boys, number 1. The Boys, Dear Becky, number 1 and 2. Number 1, number 2. So this is a really cool concept. It's 12 years after the ending of The Boys, and you have what is I can't remember the kid's name. The one that looks the Scottish guy. He is living in Scotland, at his old family's house. His parents are dead, and he's living there with Anne. You don't see her in this book, either one of these books. But it just starts out with him talking with his transvestite friend of his. They're drinking in a bar, and he goes back home, and he gets something in the mail, and it turns out that it's Billy Butcher's wife's diary. But Billy Butcher had started writing in it as a way of, I don't know why, but it's like he's talking to her, so he's writing down all the things that are happening. And you're getting new stories. Like there's there's a whole new group. It's just like there's sort of like another version of the X-Men, like the Horny Vicar and the Flying Poof and stuff like that. You know the title, the names that he comes up with in these things. And there's one character that I think is supposed to be a Shazam type of character, because it's a young kid, and they go and they cut his tongue out with a razor blade so he can't talk, which is probably so to keep him from saying, Shazam, his version of Shazam. But I have to tell you, these are really good. This Garth Ennis is in fantastic form in this one, just like he always is. I'm going to give this a 4.5 out of 5, both of them, and recommend that if you're a fan of The Boys, pick these up, because these are awesome. All right, last one. Tim Seeley's Dark Red, number 10. This issue finishes up the city story arc. So you've got the two main character and his girlfriend trapped underneath the bad vampire woman's skyscraper in Chicago, fighting their way out, and they have to keep fighting to win or to live. So this is just finishing up that whole battling the bad guys arc, and then what's going to happen, whether she is going to stay and help the people she's with, or is she going to come back to town with him. So I'm really enjoying this book, because it's just a kind of a working class vampire guy who fought in World War II, and he just wants to stay at home and work. He'll work at the 7-Eleven type store that he's at and not be messed with by a bunch of crazy vampires. But now life is in the way. So This series is a 4.25 out of 5, and if you haven't read it yet, pick up the trade. If you like Tim Seeley's work, which I do, you'll like it. So anyway, have a happy Friday, people, and enjoy your comics.